welcome to Bidstorm, a comedy game design podcast by two guys who know nothing about comedy nor game design. I'm Ben Slinger, and with me, as always, is Trevor Scott.
Hello.
Hey, and we're doing something a little bit different this week. You might be able to hear it in the audio. We're doing an in-person recording.
Yeah.
But we've got some new nice little lapel mics that Trevor's purchased
spent lots of money on.
And we're trying out. So it's very strange because not only are we looking at each other, but we don't even have microphones in front of us. We can use our hands and wave around.
Yeah, and not actually have to worry about a microphone technique and getting close up to the mic and
so
getting a little bit quiet.
I don't know what... I don't know how it's going to affect the vibe of the show because, it might just be a bit more conversational than usual. But I think we're going to just do some click pitch.
Yeah, so we're going to play Ramped Up Click Pitch, which is a game where we each have a random word generator in front of us, and we're going to get an adjective and a noun, and we're going to throw those words at each other, and we're going to see how it all fits together, and then we'll build a game out of that. And when it doesn't work, we'll start again.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's go.
Jump in. 3, 2, 1, click.
Medicinal twang.
I thought you were going to say twat.
No.
I've been watching a lot of Taskmaster, so it's UK, slang. Displeased lottery.
Displeased lottery, okay.
Medicinal twang. Could this be about...
A lottery with a medicinal twang.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, like, medicinal and lottery. Is this like a dystopia sort of thing of, like, if you want to get treated for your, diseases, you have to... There's a lottery to see, who gets to see the doctor.
Really dystopian.
Yeah, a little bit of Hunger Games-ish sort of.
It's one of those things of, is it life and death? No, good. You can go into the lottery and see when you actually go in.
I mean, depending on how far you want to go, like, is it life or death? Yes, great. You get 2 entries in the lottery. Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting...
Drawn each day.
Yeah, so do you just do that as the backdrop, do you think, and build a story around that? Or do you build some mechanics around this lottery? Is this like a Papers, Please-ish thing where each day you're seeing, you're the doctor and you're seeing different, like you're exploring it in that way of seeing the different patients coming through. Sometimes they're not going to come back.
Yeah. That is interesting.
Yeah, that could be interesting. And working as a caregiver in a horrible dystopian society, right? Like you're trying to do the best with this bad situation, but you've got such limited resources.
Okay, so you work in the lotto office.
Potentially, yeah.
So you're in charge of drawing it. You're in charge of putting the numbers in.
Okay. Yeah, you could do... That could be interesting, because then, you could provide some narrative stuff around, like, do you rig it for certain people? Do you, what is the risk of doing that?
Yeah.
You're seeing the outcomes as well, potentially. Or you're seeing that other, like, politicians and stuff are rigging it for, like, their family and what do you do in that situation? It puts you in danger if you whistleblow about it.
You get pressured from above by the, dean of the hospital or whatever, and he's coming in going, hey, my nephew is coming in for an operation. Please put 15 tickets in for him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. And then you could maybe do some of, again, the...
And getting that pressure from above to actually do that, and there's consequences if you don't follow...
But maybe you
rules, but there's also
minimize it. Maybe you can put in 5 tickets for them, or maybe you can just like not even put them in the lottery, but you've got ways to just get them a spot anyway or something. But then you're not taking one away from the people who are in the It's it's an interesting. You can come up with some interesting moral dilemmas.
Way to sort of see what different mechanics you could put in place, what different morality system you could actually put in place to sort of, again with storylets, seeing things come back. Like it's just
like we've been leaning, like we've been leaning on the storylets too much lately. But like it, yes, I think at least narrative that's driven by the sort of the choices that you've made, and are you more or less likely to?
And each run is effectively different. Like each experience through the game is different because of how you've, you know.
I think if we were doing that, because I do think we've relied too much on storylets lately to just like be the mechanics of the game, because there is some cool stuff you can do with storylets, and I friggin' love the idea. But I think if we were doing it as sort of more of a run-based thing, then you need some other mechanics, and maybe it's around like tracking people through the system or something, or like being able to get deeper into their information. Maybe it is, again, and I'm going to Papers, Please too much this time, but maybe it is about like, oh, actually there's fraud in the system as well, like people who are not actually sick, who are, you know, trying to give their sub story and make their way in, or sell tickets,
or there always seems to be these same people that appear every single day, and they're, as you just said, they're trying to actually get tickets so that they can sell them.
They can sell them at a
premium to someone else. Like they get enough of these people in, and they're going to get enough, like one or two per day potentially, and so therefore they're a little bit luckier, and they can make lots of money out of that.
Yeah.
How do you identify those people? And, you know,
and it could be some interesting puzzle-based stuff. It could be like, oh, well, they're using a automated system, and so the names always follow a particular pattern or something. And you could highlight that narratively potentially, or you could leave it up to the player to figure out. Maybe there's a few different ways you can figure out who these fraud cases are. Some of them, you know, trickier than others, but if they're paying attention, they could.
I think it's in, you know, certain doctors' signatures and that sort of stuff. It's always coming from these two doctors, like from the same surgery.
Right, yeah, they could be working together in that way too. Yeah, that's interesting.
Because there's lots of different ways that you can do it. Or it's like, you've seen this name come up before, and it's just the same medical certificates that are going out every single time.
Well, and there could be some interesting stuff there around as well, like, oh, the prescriptions or the certificates or whatever have IDs on them, and, you know, like there's repeats in there, like that which isn't supposed to happen, and yeah, like tracking those sorts of details is cool. I think as well, you'd want some incentive for going along with the fraud too. Like if you're getting kickbacks or something, then it makes the game, you know, it changes the game slightly. It makes it easier for you in a particular way, or it, you know, you're getting ranked per day, and you can, you know, your manager knows that you're doing what the higher ups want, so they'll be more lenient if you mess something up or something, you know. Yeah, there's some cool stuff there.
There really is. You could definitely have it a little bit more in the investigation space. You can play through the game and just experience the story, and things continue happening.
Things will just play out.
But if you start looking into some of these things, you find different parts of the story that you may not have found before, depending on how.
Yeah, just some different branching things, or like maybe not quite storylets, but again, like more in the Inkle style thing of, you know, there are sections of story, chunks of story basically, that are unlocked through certain paths.
Yeah.
And you might get there in multiple ways, but it plays out in a story stream almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. 3, 2, and click. Sandia claustrophobia.
Confiscated gripe.
Gripe?
Yeah. I don't know what the fuck a gripe is.
Well, a gripe is like if you've got a gripe with someone, it's just like a bugbear, like a.
Yeah.
I mean, Sandia claustrophobia makes me think of like quicksand, or like some sort of sand closing in. What was your first word?
Confiscated.
And then confiscated.
I mean, I'm almost seeing like a desert.
That could be taken as like kidnapped or imprisoned or something as well.
So throughout this desert prison, obviously, because it's in the middle of the desert. You know, if you do escape, there's nowhere to go because it is literally miles and miles of sand either side. And then, you know, that brings into a little bit more, you are here for the long haul.
Right.
So
yeah, well, I
like the idea of in this prison, they don't even bother with guards that much.
No.
Because they know
if you escape, there's desert in all direction and you'll just die.
You'll die of thirst because there's no water containers. There's no nothing. Like the only thing they've got is like, I'm just picturing like they just turn the hose on.
Well, I think maybe they have like water tanks that get deliveries or something. Yeah, I like the idea of maybe then planning an escape. Yeah. Like it's an escape planning game.
But of course, now you got to
like a narrative thing.
How are you going to get out? How are you going to survive? And you know, what are the different things that you can do to make sure that continues?
I wonder if you could also do it as a bit of almost an extraction, not shooter, but an extraction roguelike sort of thing almost, or you know, you can go off into the desert every day. The guards don't care. They just think you're going to die. And as long as you make it back, then you live another day. But there is actually stuff to find that you can gather resources over time, and you can smuggle some water so that you can stay out there a bit longer or go a bit further every day. And so it becomes a sort of resource management.
You might even, you know, have a bunker, you know, a few hundred meters out.
That's it.
You can start storing some water and collecting, and that's sort of like, okay.
Yeah, you've got like a stockpile, so because you're essentially preparing for, all right, one of these days I'm going to have enough to just go.
Yeah.
Even though you don't know how far it is, or, you know, and so that could be it too, gathering information about where are we? Like, what direction should I be going?
What country are we in right now?
Like what's going on? And then just because of the claustrophobia thing, that made me think of like, it made me think of the sandworm sort of thing, although I don't know if we want to go there, but also like the quicksand in like Princess Bride, like it's just the dusty, like, so I wonder if there's something around hidden tunnels or something that you end up finding, and you just if you stand in the right place, you just get sucked down into this like underground facility or something, you know, that there's
I love that
an added layer there.
Even at the very start, you see someone get sucked down into it.
And well, maybe that's it. Maybe that's how this prison is running as well. Like, it's got all this stuff underground, and
that's actually how they're getting the water in. That's how they're getting all this other sort of stuff.
Yeah, and so where
it's actually, you know, it's armed guards and all this sort of stuff, and therefore, you know, if you do happen to get down underneath, that's where you've got to be extra careful, and there's certain ways up back into, you know, other bunkers that are around, because I'm almost picturing that this prison is sort of like a huge facility and you're only seeing the top of it.
You're seeing the surface, yeah.
And it's actually, that bunker is actually connected to the prison. It's just that sand has, you know, accumulated over all these years.
Or they just, they cleared it away to be able to build this thing, but it's a desert, like it just almost flows back over it like an ocean.
Yeah.
You know, after even just a few days or something.
Ocean of sand.
Yeah. That's cool. I could see like, I think first person.
Yeah. I mean, that really worked in Spec Ops: The Line, like with all the sandstorms and stuff. Like, I could imagine it working really well, and
that'd be cool too. Having to deal with sandstorms and natural weather things, as it's like, oh shit, I was gonna go off in this direction today because I got a tip that there's, you know,
an oasis out
or like it ends up being a piece of the facility that's become exposed or something, you know.
Yeah.
But there's a
one day you see a plane going down and you're like, oh,
if I can scavenge from that, there could be
So get out there before the you know, the guards have time to put a team together.
Yeah.
And you know that they're going to go out the next day. They're not going to go out today. So you've got...
Well, that's it. You might have... But you know that they will go out tomorrow. So, like, if you don't go today, then
It's gone.
You might lose it.
You may lose everything that you could possibly get.
Yeah,
out
I
there.
like that. I'm picturing this as a bit of like an...
But
an
you can always get it
immersive
back
sim.
anyway because, like, it'll be hidden in the stores under the facility. Like,
Yeah, there can be other ways to do it. Yeah. Yeah, I'm seeing this as a bit of like an immersive sim sort of thing, like a... That's usually what's used to describe like Deus Ex or Prey or like lots of systems that work together and are interconnected, but then you have these, these narrative moments that, like, it may be that every time you play on day 7, the plane comes down or something, but you have to have prepared well enough to know, okay, all right, on day 7, I'm going to have to make a trip of this length. I need to have enough food, enough water, enough whatever, and then you can, play through it. But like you said, if you don't do that, then you can get to whatever it is, details about the outside world or whatever.
Yeah. I think in one of the bunkers that you end up in, like, there are obviously connections down underneath that you find later on that is, like, hidden behind some sort of security system.
Yeah.
Or something like that. But in one of them, you find a map of, like, this arm of the facility. And it's like, you can find the different maps throughout.
It could even be an interesting thing of the sort of like gained knowledge over time, like your personal knowledge, not even your meta knowledge of the game, where you do provide sort of shortcuts. It's like, oh, if you've survived 15 days and found these things and found your way into the bunker and found this particular like door and that has a code and found the code, then your next run, you can go straight to those coordinates, dig in the sand, find that door and get into the bunker on day 1.
Yeah.
And that can almost be part of the intended progression of, okay, you've got limited time and resources, but as the player gain knowledge about this thing, you can. It breaks the like Ludo narrative, whatever. What is it? A little bit, but as in, how do you explain
how
your character having that? But I don't know. You could have a weird time, like a weird memory time loop thing happening or something, if you want, or you don't. Whatever. It's a fucking game.
Yeah. It's one of those things of maybe the maybe the character goes, wow, luck must be on my side today. I was
thinking that too. It's like they just have the longest string of luck in your final run where everything just goes right and you happen, it feels to the player or to the character that they're just stumbling across this stuff, put a random code into a combination lock and it opens.
I can't do anything wrong. I'm invincible.
Definitely get shot. That's cool.
And that's, if you happen to try and do the speedrun version of it, and it's like you haven't actually found, at least 50% of the data, it's like, the character starts thinking that he's the luckiest person on the planet and just starts taking risks.
Yeah. I do like the idea of like an internal monologue like that actually in a game that changes run by run to sort of reflect. Yeah. It's cool. All right, shall we click? What time are we at here?
About 20 minutes, so
okay.
we've got time.
Yeah. Let's do one more, at least.
I mean, these words just explain what we're doing right now, which is a stupefying hangout.
Yeah, stupefying hangout. I don't know how well mine worked with this, because I got cod papyrus. So
I mean, papyrus is a font.
Papyrus is a font. That is where my mind went. It's the Avatar font.
It's the Avatar font.
Although before that, it was just the font used when you wanted to look like a hippie-ish sort of thing.
And we're talking Avatar,
blue Na'vi,
not Last Airbender.
No, not Last Airbender. The much superior Avatar.
Except for the M. Night Shyamalan film, which is not
We don't.
superior.
I don't know what you're talking about. Never heard of such a thing. So I was thinking of like Papyrus kind of obviously is inspired by, old scrolls and that sort of thing. What does a stupefying hangout look like in like the, 10th century or something? Eating cod.
I mean,
Or maybe they're playing COD. It's whatever the Call of Duty is in in the whatever.
10th century.
I don't know history well enough to know what the fuck was going down in the 10th century. But thou shalt be bagged by my tea.
So it's first person, but anytime that you're controlling something, it's just that you're a director of a play, telling people where to go.
Yeah, right. Okay. It's a military
Okay, you shoot him. Shoot him.
And it's all
shoot him with that bow and arrow.
And it's live. Like they have to actually play it out. Okay, could you do like that's a ridiculous but funny like sort of framing device. Could you do a game like that where do you make this into almost one of those tactical?
Oh, it's an RTS. It's a real-time strategy.
Well, but no,
game.
do you make it into one of those tactical sort of things where it's like you plan out the moves, like that one that you and I played that time? Do you know the one? Anyway,
that one that we played.
No, where you
and it all comes together in a bit of a face.
Yeah, where you've got your troops, and you say, okay, in this turn, you're going to go here, you're going to go here, you're going to wait and shoot anyone that comes, and they play out simultaneously, like a.
Oh yeah, the something Expanse, wasn't it?
I don't know, cold something or
Cold Synapse.
Cold Synapse, yeah.
That was a weird game.
It was weird, yes. But it is a genre, that pops up now and then, and it could be interesting to have it in this sort of wacky medieval. All right, I'm gonna put my person here with the crossbow, and if anyone gets in the way, you shoot, and then you go over here and flank.
And I'm going to stand here and start kicking it if you get in my way.
Yeah. I mean, you could have some interesting. Maybe you bring in fucking like maybe you go bigger. You bring in catapults. You bring in like other medieval warfare, different classes of. You've got knights on horses and stuff. But yeah, it's these two battling playwrights essentially, who
have become army generals, but all they know how to do is just go, okay, everyone to their places.
Yeah. Yeah, and then it plays out, but they haven't told it. They've only told their own actors where to go, and so
yeah.
I think it'd be fun. You could, you'd play it up with the characters and stuff, and it'd be this like over the top.
Oh, you're going to go there, are you? Okay,
Yeah.
well, I'll put a catapult here and fire at your castle.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I love that, and everything's sort of told on these scrolls. And
Yeah, well, and do you have an audience? Is there an audience? Like, is this?
It's effectively like how when you go to Sovereign Hill and they've got the old Blood on the Southern Cross sort of thing.
Yeah, okay.
It's basically two battling playwrights just moving these actors around, but they're actually
they're actually killing each other, and you can end up with like.
No actors
catapulting people into the crowds and so like you could have a bunch of wacky stuff that could go on, and then
I really do like that.
fun.
I really do like that.
They die. It's like bring out some more actors. It's just like criminals or something come out in chains. But I can't sing.
Hire some more actors.
They just round up people in the crowd.
Have you ever committed a crime? Well, I stole a loaf of bread. That's enough. Into the catapult with you.
That's really funny.
Okay, let's go one more.
Yeah. Honourable recap.
Milky Rattler.
Milky Rattler. Actually, what that makes me think of is like milking
Rattlesnake.
rattlesnake. Yeah, like a snake for its
That's
venom.
kind of why I kept it.
Okay. An honourable recap.
Yeah.
Is this like the
This is
snake handler
the first person to ever milk a snake? Just recapping,
telling the story?
telling the story. It's in VR.
It's in VR. It's a snake milk. Yes, okay. It's a snake milking game in VR. You have to like catch them out of the air and then hold them the right way to like.
If you don't, they just come flying at your face, and it's like,
Oh, they latch onto you. Like I love this idea of like by you know, if you're not doing well, you go to grab a snake out of the air and you just see like 5 other snakes hanging from your arm. You can pull them off.
You've been bitten enough times. You're not.
Yeah, well, this is it. You've done the old Wesley, and you've built up a tolerance over.
It's just something about like they can come from any direction.
Oh yeah,
and you just
hear the rattle.
Unfortunately, all you hear is the rattle. You don't actually hear anything but the rattle. And once they're in the air,
they're silent killers.
They're silent.
Yeah.
Because the rattle only makes sound when they're moving, and when they've launched themselves into the air, it's like you're not going to get any
hear
rattle.
a vague whistling sound as they get close.
It'll sound like a really, really close plane, like really, really low to the ground.
Yeah, really low to the ground. You'll think you're about to die.
It's getting even more crazy, and it's like because it's all in slow mo. It's like super hot.
Oh my god! I think you do have. Well, actually, maybe that's the benefit. Maybe once you've got enough venom in your system, your brain starts slowing down. But that gives you an advantage to like last ditch
7 snakes out of the air and shove them all
and slam their heads together, and all the venom drips out.
You shove them all into the jars that you've got there.
Yeah.
It's like.
Yeah. Actually, I kind of love that idea. I kind of love you've just got like a bunch of jars that can each hold one snake, and once you put them on there, they just milk out and then shrivel up and die because they just.
Well, they shrivel. They just detach and they just
slither off,
ashamed
of themselves.
It's like, oh,
they're spent now.
One goes away and they're just smoking a cigarette with their tail. It's like,
oh yeah,
the tongue's going crazy.
I do actually like that. I think that would actually be a fun arcadey VR game.
It would be
different environments, so they're coming at you from the bushes in this one, or this one there's different levels that they might like appear from because you're in like a rocky environment or something, or do the fucking AR version in your own bedroom, in your own room. They come around the corner of the coming through windows and things.
God, that's insane.
Yeah.
Look, we do actually have time for one more quick one.
You go.
Itchier Parsec.
Stifling occupant.
Okay, so obviously it's set in the Star Wars universe.
I mean, or just in space in general, but we can do Star Wars if you've got something that...
Smuggler. But what
stifling occupant. So like that makes me think
so
of
an
like
occupant of like a
pod or something. Like they've...
Well, I'm thinking it's kind of like a Millennium Falcon where you got a stowaway, basically.
Okay.
You're smuggling someone into a place. The problem is what you had in there before is effectively like itching powder and all that sort of stuff. So it's like
you were hauling supplies for the joke planet.
Now the question is, do you play the
stowaway or
the stowaway, and the only thing that keeps you from making lots of noise is to obviously itch.
To scratch.
And scratch that itch. But if you scratch too much, you can, hurt yourself and that causes you to yell out in pain and all this sort of stuff. So it's riding the balance of die it's too itchy. Versus,
that is an interesting idea to try to emulate in a game, that building compulsion to itch.
yeah.
I don't know how you do it really effectively. I wonder if you could do it with like sound, in that you have an audio representation of that desire to itch almost. And so because I'm trying to think, how do you make something for the player that's really annoying, that initially they can just ignore for the benefit of the game, but it may get to a point where they just have to be like, no, I can't handle it anymore.
Or as flashing lights on the screen, like you.
Yeah, or a combination, or yeah.
It's that little voice in your head going, "Go on, itch it. Itch it. It's really fucking itchy right now. Go on, it's so fucking itchy." Ah!
It just ends up just being an endless screech. You're like, the player just has to go, I can't handle this anymore. All right, itch.
And if you hit the mute button, we've got it.
Well, that's why we have to do visual stuff too.
Oh yeah, and the visual stuff has to go pretty much strobing.
Well, I mean, we don't want to give people epileptic seizures too much, but yeah, I mean, you'd have to.
We've gone nuclear because you hit mute.
Just have to detect it.
So I think that is the end of tonight's episode.
Yeah, we'll leave it there. So if you'd like to find all of our previous episodes online, go to podchaser.com/bitstorm. They're all up there for your listening pleasure.
If you like the song that we play at the start and end of each episode, that song is called Mount Defiance, off of the album Containment Failure by the band Kuradust. You can find it at kuradust.bandcamp.com for free.
That's right. So thank you again for joining us this week on Bitstorm. I'm Ben Slinger.
I'm Trevor Scott.
3, 2, 1, stop.